John Crowe Ransom's The World's Body is a collection of essays that explores the value of poetry and art in a world increasingly dominated by science, technology, and industrialization. The book reflects Ransom's role as a leading figure of the Southern agrarians and the New Criticism movement, groups that emphasize the importance of tradition, close reading of texts, and the defense of poetry as a unique form of knowledge. Ransom argues that poetry offers a way to experience the fullness of life, which he believes science and logic cannot capture. His ideas challenge readers to reconsider the purpose of art in modern society and its ability to preserve the richness of human experience. Ransom begins by contrasting poetry with science. He claims that science simplifies the world by breaking it into abstract ideas and general principles. For example, science might study a tree by analyzing its biology or classifying its species, reducing it to data and theories. While this approach is useful for understanding how things work, Ransom argues it strips away the tree's individuality, the way its leaves rustle in the wind, the texture of its bark, or the shade it provides on a sunny day. Science, in his view, focuses on what things are, not how they feel or appear in their particularity. Poetry, on the other hand, embraces these concrete details. It does not seek to explain or define, but to present the world as a complex, living thing. A poem about a tree might describe its colors, sounds, and the emotions it evokes, allowing readers to experience the tree in a way that feels immediate and real. For Ransom, this is the world's body, the physical, sensory reality that poetry preserves and celebrates. A poem has two main elements: structure and texture. Structure refers to the poem's logical framework, its theme, argument, or storyline. Texture is the layer of vivid imagery, metaphors, and sounds that give the poem its sensory richness. Ransom believes great poetry balances these two elements. The structure provides a clear direction, like the blueprint of a building, while the texture adds decorative details, the stained glass windows, or carved woodwork, that make the building beautiful. Without texture, a poem becomes dry and lifeless, like a scientific report. Without structure, it risks becoming chaotic or meaningless. Ransom uses this idea to critique poets who prioritize one element over the other. He admires poets like John Donne and T.S. Eliot, who blend intellectual depth with striking imagery, creating works that engage both the mind and the senses. Beyond analyzing poetry, Ransom critiques modern society's obsession with progress and efficiency. He links the rise of science and industry to a loss of appreciation for art, tradition, and the natural world. Factories, machines, and urban sprawl, he argues, have alienated people from the rhythms of rural life and the beauty of their surroundings. This shift, for Ransom, reflects a deeper spiritual crisis. Industrial society values utility above all else, reducing humans to workers and consumers, rather than allowing them to live as whole beings with emotional and aesthetic needs. Poetry, in this context, becomes a form of resistance. By focusing on the particular and the imperfect, it challenges the cold, uniform vision of modernity. Ransom's Southern agrarian roots shape this argument. He romanticizes agrarian communities as places where people live in harmony with nature and uphold cultural traditions. While this view overlooks the hardships of rural life, It underscores his belief that art and tradition are essential to maintaining humanity's connection to the world. Ransom's ideas had a lasting impact on literary criticism, particularly through the New Criticism movement. New critics like Ransom urged readers to focus on the text itself, its language, form, and imagery, rather than the author's biography or historical context. This approach revolutionized how literature was taught, emphasizing close reading and analysis of poetic devices. For example, a new critic might examine how the rhyme scheme in a Shakespearean sonnet reinforces its theme of love, or how the metaphors in a Robert Frost poem create tension. Ransom's distinction between structure and texture provided a framework for this kind of analysis, encouraging critics to explore how form and content interact. While new criticism has since been challenged by other theories, its influence is still felt in classrooms today, where students are often taught to read closely and support interpretations with textual evidence. In The World's Body, Ransom also defends poetry against accusations of being impractical or elitist. He acknowledges that some modern poets write in difficult, abstract styles, but he argues this is a response to the complexities of contemporary life. When the world feels fragmented or meaningless, poetry mirrors that confusion, while also offering glimpses of order and beauty. Ransom compares this to the way religious rituals use symbols and ceremonies to make sense of existence. Poetry for him is not a luxury, but a necessity, a way to confront the chaos of the world and find meaning within it. He urges poets to avoid both excessive intellectualism and sentimentalism, striving instead for a balance that honors the messiness of lived experience.